Hello there everybody, my name is Juan. Welcome back to the channel. Today is the first day of Pride Month, so I wanted to talk about the fact that I'm gay. I technically came out about 12 years ago, but I kind of want to tell you the story about how I came to acknowledge it. And honestly, I don't normally talk about such personal matters, but I do find it to be important to share my experience and my perspective. So when
When I
I was
was
in
in
the
the
fifth
third
grade,
grade, I thought that I was gay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I was gay before I even knew what being gay was. And I remember particularly paying attention to my male teachers in elementary school. And it wasn't until I got into middle school and I met other boys my age who would talk about other students and female teachers that I realized, wait, something's not right there. Around that time, I actually made a gay friend, and eventually we ended up exploring each other's bodies. And that fact kind of very, very clear that I was indeed gay. What's crazy is that those initial experiences kind of filled me with this sort of like incomparable dread and like fear about the fact of me being gay and like somebody finding out. And that fear itself, the fact that I had such a strong emotion within me about this feeling that I was having, made that experience so much more concrete. Because if I wasn't really gay, why the fuck did I feel so scared, right? Middle school in general is fucking brutal. Now, add on top of that being gay, it would be so much fucking worse. I remember in middle school getting bullied because my head was too big to be like, oh, you have a 5 head. They would bully me because my chin was too big. And nowadays, I look at myself and I'm like, damn, that's fucking sexy, bro. Like, what the fuck were they? What were they on? You know? Thankfully, I was smart enough to never really tell anybody that I was gay until I graduated high school and I made my coming out video. So, realistically, I never really had to deal with any kind of homophobia or anything like that. I just got the regular kind of bullying, you know? And for that coming out video, I remember I went online and found a questionnaire. I really wanted to make this sort of like Q&A, questions about my gay life, and it was me barely coming out. And looking back on it now, that was kind of crazy because those questions were invasive as fuck, bro. I had had very little, if any, kind of gay experience, and I was answering questions about whether I was a top or bottom, and it's like, I wasn't either. You know what I mean? Like, geez, it was kind of crazy. So much so that eventually I ended up kind of cutting the questionnaire section out of that video. And if you look at that video now, the I'm gay video, it's literally just me walking out of a closet. And I thought that was so funny, just leaving that part in there. Um, I did eventually, I did react to my coming out video before I edited it out. So there is still a video out there where I'm reacting to it that you can kind of see the questions that I was answering. It almost makes me want to make another reaction of my reaction to my fun original video, kind of make like a reacception. I don't know, we'll maybe get into that. But honestly, when I first posted that video, it genuinely felt like a fucking weight was taken off my shoulders. It was fucking insane, man. That being said, I never officially came out to my family, and in that point in time, my family was quite broken, but somehow still together. And I don't particularly want to talk about why or how or why, but basically because it was so broken, there was never really any sort of communication between us. And I'm 100% sure that they saw the video, but my family has this way of dealing with situations like that in which it's almost like if they don't acknowledge it, it's basically like it never happened. So they never really mentioned it, and that was kind of like a double edged sword because, on one hand, I was out here living my best gay life, going out with friends, living gay experiences in the world, but at the same time, I would come home and it was basically like I never really came out at all. It's like on one hand, it was cool because I never had to deal with any potential homophobia coming from my family, but at the same time, I oftentimes felt like I didn't really have anybody to talk to about what I was feeling and the experiences I was having. And honestly, that is where YouTube kind of came in, and I am genuinely, eternally grateful to YouTube because in growing up with YouTube, I was able to watch a ton of people make their own coming out videos, and in so kind of learning the fact that, hey, these feelings and emotions that I'm kind of having within me that I feel like I can't express, I'm not the only person dealing with that. And I was also able to see people live their life openly and free and sort of like vicariously live through them. Inevitably, I ran into the beast that is Grinder. Now, a lot of you probably know what I'm talking about, but basically, it's like a gay hookup app. And I have a lot of opinions about the app itself and the like hookup culture as gay people in general. But in that point in time, it was honestly kind of like the best way to meet like other gay people. That being said, looking back on it now, that shit was kind of crazy, because why, as an inexperienced little 18-year-old, am I out here meeting grown ass men on the internet? And you know, I love me a fucking grown ass man. This is also why I think it's important to have these conversations and talk about this, because my parents didn't know what I was getting up to and the things that I was doing. So there was no way for them to even warn me about the potential dangers of meeting fucking strangers on the internet, how dangerous that could potentially be. And thankfully, I never really had like a negative experience. Like nothing crazy ever really happened to me out of like the ordinary, you know. But nonetheless, like if you're out there, you know, using these apps and you're young, be careful out there. There's a lot of fucking weirdos out there, bro. And these apps, while in one hand they make it easy for you to meet other gay people and kind of like hook up with other gay men, it also makes it very easy for fucking weirdos to get contact to you and other people. So just be safe out there. Make sure you like are very sure that the person who you're gonna meet up isn't a fucking like serial killer or some bullshit. Like that would be fucking crazy. And I'm really glad I never had any of those kind of crazy experiences happen to me. But be safe out there. So now a few years passed. I was maybe like 21, 22 at this point, and I was just living my best gay life, even in secret from my family. I would go and meet fucking grown ass men on the internet. I would go out to gay clubs with my friends, and inevitably it kind of started to get a little crazy, because I was basically going out to the club every weekend, and I would get home in the middle of the night like really drunk. And I don't know how in my mind any of this made sense, because I was getting home so late and my parents didn't know I was gay, but I was out here living my fucking best secret gay life out there. And honestly, it got really bad, because I would oftentimes come back like so drunk that I would just be messy when trying to go into my house. Inevitably, that it became a problem with my family, and they decided that they were gonna have a sort of intervention. They set up like a meeting. We were gonna talk about it, but really, it was not really a talk or any kind of guidance or anything like that. It was more of like an ultimatum. They basically told me if I didn't stop drinking and going out, that I was gonna have to find somewhere else to live. Um, Upon hearing that, the first time, I in my head told myself, I'm not gonna let you get the chance. And a few weeks after that conversation happened, I ended up moving out with that same friend from middle school. I ended up completely cutting off contact with my family and didn't speak to them for several years. And in hindsight, I would like to believe that there could have been a better way to handle that situation. But unfortunately, I was the one who was in the wrong, getting fucking home real fucking drunk and being a mess. So I didn't really have much of a say in the matter. I just had to make a decision, and ultimately, I think I decided to go with what would be best for me. And moving out in that manner was yet another double-edged sword, because on the one hand, yes, I had the freedom to be and do whatever the fuck it is I wanted, but at the same time, it was honestly one of the most difficult things that I've ever had to do. It was very difficult because I was basically now responsible for all of my expenses, which included my rent, my food, and at that point in time, I was still going to college, so it also included those expenses. It was very difficult because inevitably all those sort of expenses started adding up, so much so that I ended up dropping out of college. And I also ended up getting addicted to drugs, and that is a topic, a conversation that I'm not particularly ready to talk about right now, but we will get into in the future. But even if I was sort of struggling to sort of make my life happen, I was still sort of glad because even if all this shit was kind of not working out, I was still free and I was happy. So from that point forward, a lot of crazy shit happened. Again, that I am not particularly comfortable talking about at this point in time, just because I feel like some of these things I've yet to overcome, kind of. So it's like talking about it now feels kind of premature because who the fuck am I to talk about a certain situation or a certain topic that I haven't even kind of overcome, if that makes any sense. So at this point, I am kind of being a little vague, and we are skipping through time a little bit. But basically, a few years passed, and I ended up overcoming some of my issues, and inevitably came to my senses and decided to actually reach out and start talking with my family once again. So slowly but surely, I kind of started coming around and kind of started to, start talking to them again, which was ultimately, I think, was for the best. My relationship with my family nowadays is okay, and recently I actually came out to my grandma, which is crazy because my grandma's like this like super religious person who and she's very very opinionated, and she will tell you what she thinks about you on the spot, and she's just like very upfront about it. But there was an instance where like I was kind of over at their house and people were like arguing this and that, and I was drunk, and I don't remember what in particular. Somebody said to my little brother like, "Oh, you're gay or something," and my brother kind of took offense to it. So I kind of went and like showed up and like, "Oh, so what's the issue?" And it was really a non-issue, realistically. Like but ultimately somehow all that led to me telling my grandma, like all drunk and shit, to top it all off, right? That I was gay, and like I said, my grandma is very opinionated, but in that moment, she was like very I was fucking crying, by the way. I was like crying. I was just like so somehow after all these years having to tell her of all people the fact that I was gay was so like difficult, even if I was drunk, even whatever, it was so difficult, but I am so happy that she took it so well, man. It's crazy. She was like, "It's okay." If anything, she was like, "Just be careful." And I'm just like, damn, bro, I really spent so many years like being afraid to even just say the fact that I'm gay and live freely when the people who love me don't care like that. They're not gonna like fucking hate crime my ass. Like what the hell? It's like all of the things that when I was young I kind of spent feeling some kind of way about or like being afraid of at like 10 years later or so, they don't even matter. It's like, damn, bro. But in the present day, I am very happy and have had so many beautiful and incredible gay experiences. And ultimately, I don't regret any of the choices that I made because those things are what led for me to be the badass motherfucker I am today. And if I could do it again, I would do it all the same. I don't have many people in my corner, but those who are in my corner know me for who I am, appreciate me for who I am, and love me for who I am. And honestly, I could never be more thankful. I could not ask for more in life, and everything else will handle it eventually. I feel like just having that sort of support just means so much after everything. So it's like any other little sort of inconsequential thing isn't really that deep. We can handle it. All of this to say that if you ever feel alone or that you are experiencing something that other people could not understand, just know that you are not alone. There is help. You will eventually grow to think of these feelings and this fear and be like, wow, I was really afraid about that back then. Just live life, experience life, and live, and inevitably you will overcome these feelings. But if it's really like that bad, there is help. I will link something in the description for you guys to check it out if it's really that bad. But just know you're not a bad person for feeling these things. You're quite normal. It's like such a basic like thing to just want to love somebody else, even if it is somebody of your same gender. Anyway, yeah, I actually kind of had to script a lot of this out because it's like such a like complex and sort of emotional story. So much so that even just typing it out kind of had me reliving these things, and it kind of made it easier to tell it in that way. Sorry if it does come off a little bit like discombobulated, because I kind of had to do a couple of takes for a number of the things that I said. But yeah, no, I thought it was important for me to get on here because I oftentimes never really talk about the fact that I'm gay, and never really, you know, show up and represent where I really am gay, and it's okay to be gay. So I hope that you guys are happy. I hope that this Pride Month is nice and colorful and beautiful for you all. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and leave that there. I will hopefully be making a few more queer videos. If you guys have any ideas of what I could make or what you would like to know, hey, we could actually do a genuine Q&A if you guys have any questions. But yeah, I'm gonna play a few career games. We're gonna finish Dream Daddy. We're gonna finally finish that shit, bro. And we're gonna get into some other shit. Just let it happen. Time will tell. And yeah, I don't know if you could tell, but like nowadays in the present, I'm genuinely happy. So I don't know, man. I everything, the fucking battle up until this point was very worth it, and I'm happy. So hey, we're gonna leave it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy Pride Month, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.